and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live transfer news show. And there's a lot of news to talk about regarding Manchester United and them signing a midfielder. Now, we've signed Varane, boom. We've signed Sancho, boom. But can we hit the triple whammy and sign a midfielder and even keep Paul Pogba on top of that? And we do know there's one midfielder that's future definitely doesn't depend on Paul Pogba, and that's CAMAVINGA. And I will talk about him in this video, but we're also going to be talking about Ruben Neves, some strong Ruben Neves links to Manchester United, and also Saul Niguez to Manchester United. It's looking more and more likely that United could actually land Saul Niguez. So what I'm going to be talking about in today's video, guys, is the latest news on Saul Niguez. What's come out? United apparently leading the race for Saul Niguez. What's the situation with that, and how likely is it that we get Saul Niguez, and how reliable the sources that say we could get him are? The latest on Kieran Trippier to Manchester United. What's the latest on that? Ruben Neves, Fabrizio Romano has come out and spoken about Ruben Neves to Manchester United, a very, very reliable journalist. We'll be talking a little bit about the CAMAVINGA situation, Paul Pogba future update. Rashford's going to miss the first 2-3 months of the season with injury. I will give you my thoughts on that. We'll also be talking a little bit about Leon Bailey to Villa. So that could mean maybe Grealish is going to City. What could that mean? Would Man United still be in a title race if Man City signed Grealish? We're also talking about what's going on and all of that. But we've got to start with the Saul Niguez news for sure. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down to Alice Talks Football if you're new and all of that. So hit that like button, subscribe down below if you're new, share this video, and I will address some of the comments and questions in the live chat as well. But actually, one quick thing. Fabrizio Romano has come out and said regarding Varane, and we're going to go right into the Saul Niguez news. But Fabrizio Romano said, Rafael Varane will fly to England on Monday, but will have to quarantine for some days before having his medical and signing his contract. Everything to be completed next week. So the whole Varane deal is going to be completed next week, but he might have to quarantine. So I'm not sure if we're going to see him in the pre-season friendly versus Everton, but we could see Sancho in the pre-season friendly versus Everton. And then Fabrizio Romano also said that Rafael Varane is buzzing to join Manchester United as soon as possible. His contract is June 2025 with an optional year to extend. So Rafael Varane is flying to United on Monday. Might have to do his medical on Monday. So yeah, he might have to isolate a few days for his medical, but he is flying out on Monday to Manchester United. And all that. Thoughts on Boateng joining United? Someone just asked me. Not going to happen. Romano said it's not going to happen. We wouldn't get. I know the deal's not going to happen, but if the deal did happen, I wouldn't be the biggest fan of all of it. But yeah, let's get right into what's sort of going on with Saul Niguez. Now, Tom Hopkins, what would I rate him as a journalist? Very hit and miss. You know, he was one of the first journalists to confirm the Wan-Bissaka news, to confirm the Wan-Bissaka interest. I think when it comes to English players, he's got a little bit of credibility, and Tom Hopkins on my wire. My webcam's pissing me off. So basically, Tom Hopkins does work for the Mirror. You know, he's hit and miss. He was very, very accurate with Wan-Bissaka 2 years ago. He has had some blah, 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 you know, questions. But Tom Hopkins, I'm going to rate him tier 2, tier 3 journalist. Came out and said that Saul Niguez representatives are due to jet into England tomorrow in a bid to strike a deal to bring him to the Premier League. Manchester United are in pole position to sign Saul Niguez, and he could be available for £40 million. So what Tom Hopkins has said is that Saul Niguez representatives are flying into England to talk to Manchester United and Premier League clubs, probably Liverpool as well, in order to strike a deal for Saul Niguez, because we know there's financial difficulties at Barcelona, and that Saul Niguez Barcelona swap deal might not be possible. And he's saying that United are in pole position to sign Saul Niguez, who could be available for £40 million. To extend on what he said, his exact words were, Saul Niguez hopes to have his move to England sorted this week. His representatives are due to jet into England tomorrow. So literally tomorrow, apparently Saul Niguez's representatives will jet into England. Manchester United are in the box seat, but Liverpool are also keen. Proposals will be sought from both in a bid to tie up the deal quickly. So now what the Mirror, Tom Hopkins, is saying is Saul Niguez agents, representatives are flying into England to talk to United, to talk to Liverpool, because they want to get a deal done for Saul. They want to get Saul's move. We know he's going to leave Atletico, and we know he could leave Atletico for £40 million. Sources close to Saul say he has no desire for his future to still be up in the air by mid-August, when England and Spain top flight both kick off. He will be allowed to leave Atletico for £35 to £40 million. Now, first things first, there's three things I want to talk about the story. So the story is basically saying Saul Niguez, Man United are in pole position to sign Saul Niguez. Saul Niguez agents flying to England to talk to Manchester United, and the deal will be £35 to £40 million. So let's adjust the price. Is this doable for Manchester United? Yes, £35 to £40 million for Saul Niguez is a steal. If Paul Pogba goes, 100% doable. But you could get 35 to 40 million by selling Daniel James and Jesse Lingard, 2 players that need to leave Manchester United, 2 players I believe we could get that much money for. So the fee is doable, especially if Paul Pogba leaves. There is rumours about MATIC leaving. We'll talk about that later. The journalist is a hit and miss journalist, very, very accurate with Wan-Bissaka. Some misleading Dembele stories. The journalists a little bit hit and miss, so do take the story with a pinch of salt. But the final thing is, could this be almost let's leak a story that Saul Niguez is really, really close to joining Man United or Liverpool, and that Man United are favourites to sign Saul Niguez to see if Barcelona hurry up and do something? Because I think Saul does want to stay in Spain, and I think he does want to go to Barcelona. I'm a little bit sceptical about this deal. Now, Barcelona have their financial issues. They couldn't even get to pile on free, so I'm like, how the fuck are they going to get Saul Niguez? But I guess they can put Griezmann into it. But this depends on Griezmann wanting to go one way, Saul Niguez wanting to go the other way. So it's a difficult deal to do. But could they be saying United are in pole position to sign Saul Niguez? Saul Niguez wants United. We want United. United going to pay the money. All of this. All these positive Man United Saul Niguez stories, part of a tool to almost get Barcelona to hurry up the business and all of that. And I want to know your guys' thoughts on this, because I think you have to take the Saul Niguez story with a pinch of salt. I would love Saul Niguez. Do I believe it's going to happen? Not until Fabrizio Romano said that we're in for him. Romano says we're interested in him. Romano says you have to wait and see what Man United do with midfielders. But I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm confident we're going to sign Saul Niguez until a tier 1 journalist like The Athletic or even the Romano or Simon Stone or someone very, very reliable comes out and says United are going for Saul Niguez and all that. I'm sure we're interested in him. We're obviously interested in him. I'm sure his agents are flying to talk to United and talk to Liverpool. I'm sure we're one of the clubs interested in him, but I don't want this to be a story so they can use Manchester United to get Saul the deal he wants, which is Barcelona. Because for all I know, I think Saul does want Barcelona. So I think Saul Niguez could be our first signing. I think it's a possibility, but I still think there's more chances of Trippier and Camavinga. So apparently United are in pole position to sign Saul Niguez. Apparently we are leading the race to sign Saul Niguez. But again, you have to take the story with a pinch of salt. But I think we can afford him. I think it's a good signing. I think if Paul Pogba goes, I would really, really start to believe these stories. But I don't think we're going to get Saul Niguez until we know the future of Paul Pogba. And I do think in terms of midfielders, I still think Camavinga is the most likely. Mark Joseph says the Saul Niguez deal will be done and dusted by Friday. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on the Saul Niguez deal. I'm actually just going to search Saul Niguez and see if anything regarding Barcelona has come out. But I would like Saul Niguez at Manchester United, a very, very good player. And also, Rob Dawson from ESPN, who's a little bit more of a reliable journalist than Tom Hopkins, he said Manchester United chief Matt Judge has talked with the representatives of Edouard Camavinga, Ruben Neves, and Saul Niguez. So Rob Dawson from ESPN has confirmed that we have talked to Camavinga's representatives, which Fabrizio Romano already confirmed for us ages ago. We've talked to Ruben Neves' representatives, which Fabrizio Romano also told us ages ago. And he also said that we talked to Saul Niguez's representatives. So you know what? We know from Fabrizio Romano we've talked to Camavinga, we've talked to Ruben Neves. We do know that. I'm sure we've talked to Saul Niguez. I'm sure we're interested in him. So I do believe that when Rob Dawson says that we have been talking to the representatives of Camavinga, Neves, and Saul Niguez, I do believe that story. So the situation going on for everybody that's just joined is United apparently in pole position to sign Saul Niguez, according to Tom Hopkins, £35 to £40 million. He will leave Atletico this summer. We do know that. We do know United want him, but I think us signing Saul Niguez depends on who we sell and the money we can bring in, because I don't think we're going to buy another player till we sell. But I think it's a possible deal, but he could be using us for Barcelona. You have to remember that. But I'm sure we are interested in him, and I'm sure Camavinga, Neves, and Saul Niguez, as Rob Dawson said, are probably our 3 midfield options. We obviously know that Liverpool are in for Saul Niguez. Liverpool, in a weird way, for me, I think are the favourites to sign Saul Niguez, despite stories saying that Man United are leading the race to Saul Niguez. I think with Wijnaldum going, Liverpool could be more likely to complete this deal. However, it is being reported that, United are the favourites. We know from Fabrizio Romano, who said 3 days ago that Saul Niguez to United is a possibility if the negotiations with Barcelona collapse. Saul is open to playing in the Premier League. So we know Fabrizio Romano said that Saul would like to play in the Premier League. He's open to the idea of it. But he said that it won't happen unless the negotiations with Barcelona collapse. So if the negotiations with Barcelona collapse, Saul will probably go to one of Liverpool or United. But, we have to wait and see with this deal. It's just a situation where you have to wait and see. Simon Jones from the Mail said Manchester United are exploring a move for Saul Niguez, and there's a growing belief a deal could be struck this window for around £40 million. United want a top midfielder with PSG ready to make an offer for Paul Pogba, and Nemanja Matic weighing up his options. So I think if Paul Pogba leaves and Saul Niguez doesn't go to Barcelona, a genuine possibility, but I would still take the Saul Niguez story of a pinch of salt. I'm sure we're interested in him. Romano's confirmed we are interested in Saul Niguez, Ruben Neves, and Camavinga as our midfield options. I would say go keep an eye on it. I am going to be talking about Ruben Neves. I am going to be talking about Camavinga and all of that in a minute. So do stay tuned for that. But make sure you hit that like button. And, of course, subscribe down below. Chelsea have also been linked to Sal Niguez, but I think they just chucked Chelsea in and all of that. Only 52 likes needed for 100 likes, so do hit that like button if you have not already. Daniel Fleming says he has a feeling that Paul Pogba will sign a new contract now, and that's what I want to talk about next. I'm going to talk about Paul Pogba, then I'm going to be reading out some of your comments in the live chat. So any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat, and I will read out some in a second. But let's talk about Paul Pogba. So Sky Sports said yesterday, Paul Pogba can see a long-term future at Manchester United, but it doesn't mean he will commit to a contract extension. He's very excited about the direction of the club following the signing of Sancho and Varane. They also say talks between Manchester United and Paul Pogba's representatives over a new contract is continuing. Whilst the talks are live, there is still a possibility that he signs a new contract. They say that Pogba loves Manchester United, but he's aware that the next contract he signs could be the last big one of his career. And if he doesn't sign a new contract this summer, it doesn't necessarily mean he won't sign a new one before it expires. So the Sky Sports aren't ruling out the fact that Pogba's going to leave. We know that United are very, very confident they're going to keep Pogba. We know Man United are determined to keep Pogba. We know signing Sancho and Varane, we're more likely to keep Pogba, but Pogba's future at United is very, very up in arms. And I think that's what's making it really difficult to really commit to a player like Saul Niguez, really commit to signing a player like CAMAVINGA when we don't know what's happening with Paul Pogba. But we know Pogba loves Manchester United. We know Pogba likes the idea of where the club's going now with some Varane and Sancho. We know that he's open to signing a new deal. But I think what Pogba's going to do is he's not going to sign a new deal till maybe Christmas time. I think he's going to wait and see, because I think he's going to start the season. If his season's going well, if the new signings are doing well, and Manchester United doing well in the league, I think he will sign a new deal if we keep him. But I think if we flop, we scrape top four, we don't win any trophies, and we don't have a great season, I think he will leave. I don't think Paul Pogba's stupid. I think Paul Pogba likes that we sign Varane. I think Paul Pogba likes that we sign Jadon Sancho. But I don't think Paul Pogba's going to sign pen to paper till he sees how the season is going. I don't think he will. I think he's going to stay at United, and I think he could sign a deal quite late in the year. I think if we look good, he could stay. I think if we look bad, he could leave. That's what I have a feeling about Paul Pogba is. And I think that's a frustrating situation, because I think we want to sign a CAMAVINGA or a Saul Niguez or a Ruben Neves in case Paul Pogba leaves, but we don't know if he's going to stay or if he's going to go. We know that PSG do want him, and Manchester United could cash in on up to £50 million for Paul Pogba. That could be reinvested into Saul Niguez. For me, I'd reinvest it into a CDM, because Donny can play box to box. But I think the Paul Pogba situation is very, very up and down. You have to wait and see what happens. I think we're in a situation where, Man United are on the verge of getting midfielder. We've signed Sancho, we've signed Varane. We've got our 2 first-choice signings, boom, 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 done. We do want a midfielder, but for us to get a midfielder, we A, have to win the race for a midfielder, B, have to know about the future of Paul Pogba, and C, have to make money in-house. We spent a lot of money on Varane and Sancho. I think CAMAVINGA is the only midfielder that I know of from Fabrizio Romano where even if Paul Pogba stays, we will make a move for CAMAVINGA because of the price, 1 year left, because of the prospect of him. I don't think Saul Niguez is doable with Paul Pogba stays. I think Neves is actually doable with Paul Pogba stays, because he could be £30 million, and I will talk about the Ruben Neves story in just a sec. But Paul Pogba's future is very, very up in arms, and Saul Niguez's future is very up in arms. We could be in a situation where we don't have Pogba or Saul Niguez next year. We could be in a situation where we have both Pogba and Saul Niguez next year, or we could be in a situation where we have one or the other. I think those players, those midfielders, as annoying as it is, their future is just so up in arms, and you actually just have to wait and see where the transfer window leads us, which is a very frustrating thing and all of that. Sal 2 out of 10. I'm 30% on the Sal to United story. I'm 30%. I'm 50% on CAMAVINGA. I'm 30% on Sal. Although we are apparently in pole position, I'm sure we do want Saul Niguez and all of that. Romano hasn't said there's a big interest. Romano just said that we do like Saul Niguez, but he's not sat there and gone, it's going to happen and all of that. I think you've got to wait until you get like a good Fabrizio Romano update, or a good Athletic update, or a good Simon Stone update to really believe the stories with Saul Niguez to United. But I think it is a doable deal for sure. I think it's a doable deal, Saul Niguez to United. But do I believe it's going to happen? You have to wait and see. I think that is my situation with the news. Mark Joseph says big Dalot news coming in this week following the arrival of Trippier. Now Kieran Trippier could come to Manchester United. I am going to talk about Kieran Trippier. Kieran Trippier could be United's first signing. We know United are probably going to make 3 signings this summer. We just don't know who the first signing is going to be. Could be CAMAVINGA, could be Neves, could be Trippier, could be Saul Niguez, could even be Declan Rice, could even be Goretzka, but I highly doubt that. So what is the situation with Kieran Trippier? Now, Kieran Trippier wants United. United wants Trippier and all of that. Jonathan Schrager, reliable journalist, said Kieran Trippier will return to Madrid training tomorrow, meet with Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone to discuss his situation. Trippier would like to move back to Manchester. He's a United fan. He's from there. United would like Trippier. However, Atletico Madrid do not want to sell Trippier, and if they do, they will not sell him for any less than £20 million. If AC Milan come in and put a bid for Diego Dalot, which I believe they will do, because I do believe AC Milan do want Diego Dalot, and we can get 15, 20 million for Diego Dalot, I believe we'll go for Kieran Trippier. But if we do not sell Dalot and Dalot stays at Manchester United, I believe we won't sign Kieran Trippier and we will be going for a midfielder. I think that is the situation. I think United want Trippier. I think Trippier wants United. We know Trippier to house in Manchester. We know there are a lot of sources saying they believe this Trippier to Man United deal will happen before the end of the transfer window. I still think a lot of the Trippier situation depends on what happens with Dalot, and I think Dalot will leave Manchester United, and I think there is a strong chance that we will sign Kieran Trippier probably in the ending weeks of the transfer window. Andrew says Neves is going some momentarily lately as well. I think him and CAMAVINGA are the most likely to us. I am going to talk about the Ruben Neves news as well. We've been very, very strongly linked to Ruben Neves today. Fabrizio Romano said that Ruben Neves is on the list of Manchester United and Arsenal, but nothing's advanced. Let's see what happens in the coming days. So Romano did confirm that Neves is on Manchester United's list, but he says we have to see what happens in the coming days. So I think that's good information and a good story on Ruben Neves coming out today. Obviously, he is on Arsenal's list as well, but we can beat Arsenal out for Neves. Let's be honest, we could beat Arsenal out for Neves and all of that. Fabrizio Romano said, talking about the Juventus vice president, saying that he is in talks with Sassuolo to sign Locatelli. I think Locatelli is most likely to go to Juventus, despite Manchester United and Arsenal links. I believe Locatelli will be going to Juventus and all of that. But United are in talks with Saul Niguez. That's the breaking news. I'm just going to take a quick drink of water. Any questions you have for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button and all of that. Just taking a quick drink of water. I'm so thirsty. Saul to Liverpool. Yeah, Saul to Liverpool shite. Saul could go to Liverpool. We could go to Barcelona. He could go to Manchester United. You just have to keep an eye on it and all of that. CAMAVINGA looks like another Pogba. United is not his first choice. I don't know about CAMAVINGA. I think CAMAVINGA's got lots of options. He's just waiting to weigh out all of the options at the end of the transfer window and make his decision. It's a big move for an 18-year-old lad. You know, Bellingham had a big decision between Man United and Dortmund. I think he did make the right decision in going into Dortmund. Looking at, if Van der Beek can't play, Bellingham was never going to play. I think CAMAVINGA's looking at his future, where he wants to go, but he's also thinking, where am I going to get game time? Bellingham looked at Man United and thought, you know what, Dortmund have a better structure for youth. I'm going to get game time there. That's what Bellingham did. I think CAMAVINGA's a very, very similar situation where, he's not going to get game time at PSG. There's not many funds in Spain. He could be almost pushed into the England move, especially if we sell Paul Pogba. 2 more weeks of the first game. 2 weeks today is Manchester United's first game of the season, which is mad and all that. Who will play in Alaba's place at Bayern? Bayern must be in for a centre-back. I know they did sign Upamecano, but surely they'll be in for another centre-back with Boateng leaving. Pogba and Saul would make a great pivot at Manchester United. You know what? I agree in terms of, I don't think you could play a 4-3-3 with Pogba and Saul, but I do think they would work in the pivot. I still think Pogba and CAMAVINGA will work in the pivot as well. Saul Niguez's defensive stats are pretty good. He's a centre midfielder, but he has played quite a few games as a CDM. He's played 171 career games as a centre mid, 34 as a CDM. He's even played games as a left mid, a right mid, an attacking mid, and a centre back. But I would say Saul is probably a box-to-box midfielder, so I don't know if he really suits the CDM role, but I think him and Pogba could work because he plays at Atletico. They're a very, very defensive team. But he played 8 games as CDM last season and 22 games as a centre mid. He was involved in 33 La Liga games with 2 goals and 1 assist last season. Pogba will still be in 3 years' time because the ball won't be embarrassed twice by letting him go on a free. To be fair, look, if we let Pogba go on a free twice, I think that is embarrassing. Like it just, you could banter us. You could absolutely banter us. To be fair, you make a solid point and all of that. Arrival of Saul will only dampen the development of Donny, says Mark Joseph, and I do agree with that. I think, for me, United need to get rid of Matic and get an out-and-out CDM because Saul is, again, another box-to-box player like Donny van der Beek, another box-to-box player like Pogba, McTominay, Fred. We don't have a CDM other than Matic. So for me, as much as I like Saul Niguez, as much as I'd be happy to sign out Saul Niguez, I do believe that Manchester United need a CDM for sure. Please do hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I was going to do a watch along today, but Manchester United Preston was cancelled due to some positive COVID tests in the camp. But I will be doing a live watch along next Saturday, and there will be 5 live streams at 7:45 p.m. this week talking about all the latest transfer news. If we sign a player, I will be live. If we're close to signing a player, I'll be live. If we sell a player, I'll be live. If there's any relevant news, I'll be live. And the relevant news coming out today is that we are in talks for Saul Niguez. It's been confirmed that we're in talks for Saul Niguez. We have inquired about Saul Niguez, Neves, and CAMAVINGA in terms of midfielders this window and all of that. So that is sort of the news as well. United is bigger than more than Pogba. He is an agent just playing games to get more money, period. People saying, oh, what are you going to lose Pogba goes? We lost Ronaldo, we lost Beckham, we can lose Pogba. United are bigger than Pogba, but I still think Pogba's a big loss. What is the news, Alex? We've got a question. What is the news? News from Tom Hopkins that Saul Niguez representatives are due to jet into England tomorrow to strike a deal to bring them to the Premier League. Manchester United apparently in pole position to sign Saul Niguez for £40 million. Saul Niguez hopes that he can move to a team before the end of August. He doesn't want to be sitting around in mid-August when the Spanish League and the English League has kicked off. Man United and Liverpool, the two English teams in the driving seat for Saul Niguez. We know that Barcelona do have financial issues, and apparently Man United are winning the race for Saul Niguez and have open talks with Saul Niguez about a 30 to 45 million deal for his future. We know from Rob Dawson, ESPN, that Match Judge has talked to representatives of Edouard, CAMAVINGA, Ruben Neves, and Saul Niguez. So we're looking at CAMAVINGA, we're looking at Ruben Neves, and we're looking at Saul Niguez definitely as our future midfield options. This guy thinks Pogba could stay. I think it's definitely doable that Pogba could stay. It's just whether he stays and signs a new contract. And Mark Joseph says Lingard plus 25 million for Ndidi. If you pulled that off, still of the fucking century, but I don't think we're going to pull that off. But I'd love that to happen. Trippier depends on the future of Delo, but we want him. I don't think we'll sign him on again. There's speculation that Man United might have just signed Sancho around and leave it at that, but I do think it would be a waste not to go get a midfielder this summer. I think we've got Deadwood to sell. I think Lingard and James can get you £40 million. I think you can really easily invest the money you get for Lingard and Dan James into another midfielder and all of that. Babson says Rice, not United. CAMAVINGA is small. I think Rice is a better short-term impact, but I do think CAMAVINGA is a very good player. Lazio want Pereira loan again, but he wants to be sold now, and Fenerbahce are willing to buy him, but not for 25 million price. I mean, 25 million for Andres Pereira. I'll take a bag of Chris for Andres Pereira. It's an absolute joke we're asking that much. I could understand 25 million for Lingard, but not Pereira. What about Saul? Sal's linked to United. United in pole position to sign him. Let's just see what happens, because I still think Liverpool could easily get Saul Niguez. I think Barcelona could easily get Saul Niguez. Hasn't been the most reliable journalist in the world. We do know United are generally interested in Saul Niguez. Imagine Saul, Varane and Sancho. I would give that chance to win a 9 out of 10 if we kept Pogba as well, but we still need a CDM for me. But I agree that would be a very, very good free player to sign. Trippier to Man United would be a good fit, says Daniel. Yeah, I agree with you there, Daniel. Only 17 likes, need for 100 likes. So yeah, please do hit that like button if you have not hit that like button. Let's see if we can hit 100 likes by the end of the stream. Any questions for me? Please do leave them down below in the live chat. I'm going to try and read out and reply to as many questions as possible. So do put them down below in the live chat. We'll also talk about Aston Villa. We got a here we go from for Leon Bailey to Aston Villa, I believe, from Fabrizio Romano. So Aston Villa have already signed Emi Buendia, an Arsenal target. They've also signed another good player in Leon Bailey. Now, Buendia was a very, very good signing, and then now they've got another great attacking signing in Leon Bailey. And I think that really does hint that, unfortunately, Grealish could be going to Manchester City. The fact that they beat Arsenal to Buendia. The fact that Villa have spent £70 million on two good wingers, a very, very creative one in Buendia that did create a lot of chances for Norwich that season in the Premier League and had a very, very good season in the Championship, and now gone for Leon Bailey. I think hints that this £100 million Grealish move to Manchester City is definitely more likely. And I do think, with Varane and Sancho, United could challenge for a title, but I think if City do get Grealish and Kane, it'll be very, very hard for us to stop them challenging for a title. Now, Leon Bailey's a good player. He had been linked to Manchester United, but I'm not that bothered we didn't sign him. He got 15 goals and 11 assists last season, Leon Bailey, in 2,800 minutes. So very, very good stats for him. He's more of a right winger, but can play on the left, so he could be a little bit of a Grealish replacement as well. Just thought I'd talk about that because someone asked me, do you think Ollie's capable of winning the league even with Sancho, Varane and CDM? I think he's capable of winning the league with Sancho, Varane and CDM, but as I said, Bailey to Villa means that more likely Grealish is going to City. If City get Kane, I think even with that, I think if Pep doesn't win the league, if Pep gets Grealish and Kane and does not win a fucking Champions League, it's a joke. Do you know what I mean? It's honestly. What source confirmed about Saul? Lots of Rob Dawson from ESPN confirmed that we have been in talks with Saul and Niguez's representatives. And Tom Hopkins from the Mirror also confirmed that we have been in talks for Saul. We know from Romano, he didn't confirm that there have been talks, but Romano confirmed there have been an interest in Saul Niguez as well. So lots of sources talking about Saul Niguez to Manchester United and all of that. They're just confirming talks and all of that. But apparently, according to Tom Hopkins, we're in pole position and we have open talks with his representatives. And apparently, they're flying to England. And all of that. That is sort of the latest on Saul Niguez. Fabrizio Romano obviously said a few days ago that Saul Niguez to United is a possibility if the negotiations with Barcelona collapse, and he also said that Saul is open to playing in the Premier League. But I'm going to go with what Fabrizio Romano said. Despite rumours that United are in pole position, despite rumours that United are in talks, and I'm sure we talked to his representatives because we talked to a lot of players' representatives. We talked to Trippier's representatives, we talked to CAMAVINGA's representatives, and we talked to Neves' representatives. I'm sure we talked to Saul Niguez's representatives. I can't say the fucking word now. But I think we're just waiting to see what happens with Pogba and all of that, with Barcelona and all of that, because I think Saul wants Barcelona, but it's possible the deal could collapse. And I'm going to just go with what Romano says on that. Keep an eye on Saul Niguez as a possibility if the deal with Barcelona collapses, because, you know, his representatives are actually flying to England tomorrow. And all of that. Percentage signing for Saul, I'd say 30% for Saul as of now. Someone told me to sort my Wi-Fi out. It's not my fault. It's just been really, really slow at the moment. Also, do you think we have a chance for Neves? I think we do have a chance for Neves. Man United and Arsenal have an interest in Neves. We just have to wait and see with who we sell, how much funds we can raise and all that. But there's definitely a chance we can check Neves and all of that. 60 million enough to buy Untied. I mean, look, my dream would be Manchester United signing Untied. I don't believe it's going to happen unless they aren't stupid enough to sell. Untied is such a good player. You know, it's just going to be so hard to sign him. I mean, this guy's stats is just unbelievable. I'd love Untied, but fucking hell. I would be shocked if we signed him. I'd be shocked if we signed him. If there's any Untied news that comes out, oh my god, there will be a video on the channel. Don't you worry about it. Like, if we sign Untied, there will be a video on the channel. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. As much as I'd love it to happen and all of that. Someone asked me, do I think United will win the league this season? It really depends on how the transfer window goes and all that, but there's a possibility for sure with Sancho and Varane. Ilan says, Saul reminds me a bit of Herrera. I wouldn't say no to him, but I think we've got more pressing business. Sounds like United are sounding out midfielders in case they end up selling Pogba. Yeah, I agree with what you said there, Ilan. I think, you know, we need an out-and-out CDM more, but I think if Pogba goes, maybe that's why we're looking at Saul Niguez. Indeed, is the only CDM alternative I take to Rice, says Joe. I mean, indeed, it would be my first choice CDM, but I don't want to do a Leicester. Please do hit that like button, and of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. City will probably buy Grealish for 100 million and spend another 150 million on Kane because, you know, with this transfer window, you know, financial fair play isn't in place. And how quickly do we think we'll sell who needs to get out? United are going to take to like the last week of the transfer window to sell the Deadwood, which does worry me because I think we're stalling future deals now until we sell the Deadwood. But because it takes us so long to steal the Deadwood, is our third midfielder going to be a panic buy? I mean, Cavani was a panic buy, it worked, but could our third midfielder be a panic buy? There's also that kind of negative aspect to it if you kind of think about it as well, but you don't really know United. You don't really know with United. Now, Marcus Rashford, I'm sure you're aware, will be out until October with an injury. So I think that's why Mata, Daniel James, unfortunately, will be staying around, and Amad Diallo will probably be staying around once back from the Olympics at Tokyo. I know Ivory Coast got knocked out, so I'm sure Eric Bailly and Amad Diallo will be back soon. I'm really, really happy that Marcus Rashford will be out until October because I think, you know, we've had a not very fully fit Rashford for a while now, and he's not been good. You know, Rashford had a really, really good season, I think, despite the end of the season being poor. But we know Rashford's a good player. We know when Rashford's on form, when Rashford's confident, when Rashford's on momentum, he's a good player. He hasn't been nowhere near his best lately. He's been very inconsistent and putting in a lot of poor performances. And I think a lot of it is because of that overriding shoulder injury. So I'm very, very happy and relieved that Marcus Rashford will be taking time out to focus on his shoulder injury. I think that was the right decision from Marcus Rashford. I'm really interested to see what your thoughts and viewpoint is on that story about Rashford being out. But for me, it's a good thing. You've got Martial, you've got Sancho, you've got Greenwood. I think they can cover us enough. You've even got Daniel James. If worse comes to worse, I'm so fucking tired. I'm really sorry. I keep yawning. You've got Amad Diallo, who might be forced to stay around. You've even got Paul Pogba that can play on the left as well. So I think Rashford going is quite a good thing. Andrew says if Barca had the money, I think Saul would be there already, but the mess they're in, they can't even register most of their free transfers. It took Barcelona so long to get Depay and register it because of the mess they're in. Exactly. I think Saul Niguez probably wants Barcelona, but I think he's realised because of how shocking Barcelona's finances are that actually it's quite hard to go to Barcelona. Grealish is not a £100 million player. It will be interesting to see how he performs when he's not the star player, says Joe. You make a good point here. Now, I saw a Twitter tweet that said Jack Grealish is 10 times better. Jack Grealish for £100 million is a 10 times better transfer signing than Sancho for £72 million. And I disagree with that. Do I think Jack Grealish is a better player than Jadon Sancho and he's Premier League proven? Yes. But is Jack Grealish to City a better signing than Sancho to Manchester United? No. Because Jack Grealish is going to be 26 in September. Sancho is 21. Jack Grealish is 100 million. Sancho is 72 million. You're paying £25 million more for a player 5 years older that's only had one outstanding season in the Premier League. That's a good player but plays at Villa. Yes, he's Premier League proven, but you're paying 100 million for a 25-year-old. We paid 72 million for a 21-year-old with outstanding stats in the Bundesliga and has world-class potential. He is world-class potential. You know, his stats don't lie. So I actually think, you know what, if someone said Man United could sign Jack Grealish for 100 million or Sancho for 72 million, I would still say Sancho for 72 million. Yes, I think Grealish is better now, but I think Sancho has the potential to be better than Jack Grealish. I know Jack Grealish is from the improvement, but I think Sancho will end up being a better signing than Jack Grealish. Maybe Jack Grealish has a better first season, but I think long term, Sancho will be a better signing. I don't know what you guys think, but that tweet threw me off because I was like, Jack Grealish is nearly 5 years older than Sancho and he's going to be more money. So, yeah, he might be better, but it's not a better signing, I don't think. Hope Rashford gets his foot/ankle sorted. I agree. This guy says, Carlos, I think we're not going to sign any holding midfield this summer. Sure, we're going to end up with Trippier at the end of the window, but we sure need a midfielder. You know what? I somewhat agree with that. Like, if we don't sign a midfielder and we get Trippier, I wouldn't be surprised. I think if Paul Pogba goes, I believe we will sign a midfielder. But if Paul Pogba stays, I don't have that much confidence we'll sign a midfielder. I know we want to sign a midfielder, but I think our only chance to sign a midfielder if Paul Pogba stays is if CAMAVINGA turns around and says he wants United. Because, you know, the finances in Spain aren't great. They might not be able to afford him. PSG, there's a lot of competition. Unless CAMAVINGA turns around and says he wants Manchester United, I have a feeling we could easily do something like that. CAMAVINGA, Neves and Trippier after Varane. Well, CAMAVINGA, Neves and Trippier are three main targets after Varane. I'm not sure we'll get all three of them. We won't get all three of them. But I'm sure we could get Trippier and Neves. I'm sure we could get Neves. I'm sure we can get CAMAVINGA. We are looking at those players. They're definitely options after the Varane deal. Now, the Varane deal was basically done. So I think stories of Man United is really going to heat up next week, come Monday as well. This guy says, indeed, it makes sense for United's transfer profile anyway. His age disqualifies him. Well, for indeed, he's like 25, right? He's not old, is he? Yeah, he's 24. I think Wilfred Ndidi would be a really, really good signing and all of that. Leicester is a selling club, and if you offer them 50 to 60 million, they're upset for someone turning 32. Ndidi's not turning 32. Ndidi's 24. I'm not sure what about that. I think Leicester could sell Ndidi, but not if they've got 80, 90 million. Grealish is like Ashley Young at Aston Villa when we brought him. Grealish could be the next Ashley Young. You know, it'd be kind of funny if City spent 100 million on the next Ashley Young. I wouldn't lie to you, but I think Grealish is definitely another level to Ashley Young. Even at that age, if you want a man's opinion, I think Grealish is different gravy. I still think that 100 million for Grealish is not better value than 72 million for Sancho because you've got to take into age. But I think Grealish is absolutely a world-class talent, a world-class player. I think Grealish is a fantastic player, to be fair to him. And all of that. Call me crazy, but if he doesn't go to City this year, we are favourites for Kane next season. We are, because obviously Cavani going, United might want to invest in a striker next season. So you make a crazy point. I have a feeling City won't get Kane. I think City want Kane and Grealish, but it wouldn't surprise me if Daniel Levy was being a tight house and didn't sell that as Harry Kane. I honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised either, to be fair. Any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. And of course, I forgot to mention this in a video, but please do vote me in the Football Content Awards. A link is in the description to vote me. It'd be much appreciated if you could vote me in the Football Content Awards. I'm going to copy the link and put it in the chat. But I was nominated 2 years ago, a year ago for the Football Content Awards. I came second. So it'd be absolutely awesome if I could get nominated tomorrow. So let me just press the link in the chat. It'd be amazing if you could vote me for these awards in the Football Content Awards. So yeah, please do click on that link in the chat and vote for Alice. Thank you very much there. So yeah, just while we've got people watching, I did think I might as well mention that. And anyway, oh, I'm so fucking tired today, guys. I won't lie. It won't be a super long live stream. I'm not going to lie to you. Any questions for me, guys, do put them down below in the live chat. We're talking about the Saul Niguez talks. Obviously, if you just joined the live stream, Man United have been in talks with Saul Niguez. His representatives are apparently flying to England today, tomorrow, whatever you want to call it. Well, it would be tomorrow, actually. I don't know what I'm blabbing about. Definitely need a bit more sleep, I'm not going to lie. Sound Niguez's representatives are flying to England tomorrow to talk to maybe Liverpool, to talk to possibly Manchester United about a possible deal. That's the situation and all of that. Joseph, I honestly think Kane prefers us over them blue bum holes around there in the city. I think Kane would rather go to Man United to Man City in a sense of maybe it's a bigger club and all of that. You make a good point there. To be fair, it's my stream lagging. Because my Wi-Fi's been a little bit slow. Is the stream lagging? I think the stream might be lagging, guys. So if the stream is blurry and lagging, I do apologise for that. I'm not sure what's going on with my Wi-Fi, but it's being really, really, really slow. So hopefully the stream isn't lagging. Is Pogba staying? There's a possibility that Paul Pogba can stay at Manchester United. United want to keep Paul Pogba, and unless they get £50 million for Paul Pogba this summer, they're probably going to keep him and say, risk another year and see if he goes on a free. The thing about keeping Paul Pogba is it is a massive risk because we could easily lose him on a free. And I think Manchester United are willing to take that risk. Now they sign Varane, now they sign Sancho. Paul Pogba could easily be persuaded into staying at Manchester United, and I think now we've got Varane, now we've got Sancho. I think United are more than happy to take that risk and keep Paul Pogba and hope that he signs a new deal and doesn't leave on a free come end of the season. But as I said time and time again, it is a massive risk if we do that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Manchester United did that. By the way, Varane is flying to Manchester United on Monday. He's buzzing and can't wait to get this deal done. But I doubt he will feature in the pre-season friendly versus Everton. Samuel Luckhurst of the Manchester Evening News did say that Varane could start at Manchester United with his new teammates next week ahead of a possible first appearance for United in their final pre-season friendly versus Everton. Samuel Luckhurst said it's a possibility, but I don't see it happening. I'm just going to take a quick drink of water. But any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. I'm going to read out some questions in the live chat. But I think Sancho could be maybe in a preseason game next week because you got a preseason game versus Everton this time next week. I think Sancho could feature, but I think with Varane having to quarantine, it'll be interesting to see if he does feature in that final preseason game. Romano got asked on if Man United were going to sign a midfielder this summer. And Manchester United said if someone leaves, it's likely that they sign a midfielder, but the situation is quiet at the moment. And what Fabrizio Romano is basically saying is United want a midfielder, but it really depends on outs and all of that. Fabrizio Romano also got asked on his Twitch, Andreas Pereira to Fenerbahce is a possibility, but it's not advanced yet. Fabrizio Romano also said that he thinks Manchester United, PSG and Olympique Marseille are having the best transfer windows, which is probably should be having a good transfer window. Romano said regarding Ruben Neves that Ruben Neves is on the list of Manchester United and Arsenal, but there's nothing advanced going on between Manchester United and Ruben Neves. Fabrizio Romano said that on PSG, they would need to make sales if they wanted to get Paul Pogba. I think Manchester United are trying to keep Paul Pogba, and that's why nothing is advanced between Man United and PSG. He said that United are trying to keep Paul Pogba. So Romano said that United are trying to keep Paul Pogba. United said that Man United and Arsenal are in for Neves. United said Romano said we want a midfielder, but it depends on sales. But what Romano said regarding CAMAVINGA is saying there's no news updates currently on CAMAVINGA because he's not in a rush and he wants to wait and weigh out his options. So United are in for CAMAVINGA, but the reason that's quite slow and the news on CAMAVINGA is slow is CAMAVINGA's just waiting because he knows he's got a lot of options. He wants to think about it, he wants to see his options, see what he gets offered and all of that. And look, to be fair, does CAMAVINGA probably want Spain? Maybe, but I still think there's a possibility in CAMAVINGA, but it's quiet because he is weighing out his options. That was said by Fabrizio Romano. David De Gea and Lindelof are back in training for Manchester United, by the way. They met up with some teammates and all of that as well. Romano did talk about the Saul Niguez deal. He did say it's not about where the agents are. It's true that English clubs Manchester United, Liverpool and Chelsea are keeping tabs on Saul. So Fabrizio Romano, Tier 1 journalist, did confirm that we are keeping tabs on Saul Niguez. What Romano says is if Barcelona's swap deal collapses, Premier League clubs will jump into the race for Saul Niguez, who's open for anything. So what Romano's basically said is Saul Niguez is open for Manchester United, Chelsea or Liverpool if his deal with Barcelona collapses. But I think Saul Niguez wants Barcelona, but if it collapses, I think it's very, very likely that he could go to the Premier League and we would be in a race with Liverpool and Chelsea for Saul Niguez. And according to the Mirror and Tom Hopkins, we are in pole position to sign Saul Niguez, but we will just have to go and see where that goes. But that's an update on that. Leon Goretzka is basically just using Manchester United for a new contract. That is pretty much the news story on Leon Goretzka, by the way. Can Saul play CDM? He can, but not in his own. He's more of a pivot player. This guy says, we as fans may need to be patient with Varane and Sancho if they don't perform at the start. I 100% agree. And this guy says, to be honest, Danny is capable of playing in the pivot, get a CDM. Donny's capable of playing in the pivot, get a CDM. And I agree with you there. I think it's really important that we do get a CDM. I know we are linked to a lot of box-to-box players, but for me, Ndidi, Declan Rice, Sicaria, just get one of them in. CDM. I 100% agree that United need a CDM a lot more than they need a box-to-box midfielder. After United make all necessary signings this window, Pogba and United will agree on £400,000 a week. That is definitely a possibility, but we have to see with the Pogba situation. Will he sign a new deal? I think Paul Pogba will stay at United this summer. I think we will keep Paul Pogba, but I don't think he will sign a new deal until maybe Christmas time, where he sees the direction of the club, sees where it's going, and when we offer him a shit ton of money in a panic. And this new owner says he's going with CAMAVINGA and Neves. CAMAVINGA, Neves, and Saul Niguez are the two midfielders we're most linked to. It's definitely a possibility. And someone said Thomas Partey. Anyone? Well, he's at Arsenal now. You know, we want players that play in Europe. You know, we don't want average players. So, I mean, to be fair, I would have generally took Thomas Partey a year ago. I was a big fan of Thomas Partey. I still think he's a good player, to be fair. I do feel a bit sorry for him going to Arsenal. I feel really like, do you know what? I'm not even saying this to be mean, but when I saw Ben White holding up an Arsenal shirt, like, announcing that he joined Arsenal, I kind of felt sorry for Ben White. And this isn't even me like trying to have a dig at Arsenal. I just thought, okay, I guess you're going from Brighton to Arsenal, but I was just like, Arsenal, you're just going to get ripped apart on AFTV. You're just going to get bantered. You've gone to Banter FC. I think Leicester's a better club than Arsenal. I think Aston Villa look like they've got a better future than Arsenal. You know what? I mean, look, I guess if you're on playing a team like Arsenal, just come and view with their representation, you know, like their stature and all that, boom. But I did sit there, and when Ben White was announcing how happy was he doing Arsenal, I just thought, oh, you know what? I feel sorry for you. I just feel like you're going to be bantered for the rest of your life and all of that. But yeah, Joe says he'd love HAALAND, but he's going to leave after 3-4 years, as that's Raiola's plan for him. Kane would stay and become a United legend. Yeah, I think, you know, Haaland's like a Zlatan. He's just not going to be at a club for any more than 3 years. And I reckon Leicester will value Ndidi at 50 million. If Leicester value Ndidi at 50 million, I don't know why we're not going for him. But honestly, it's Leicester, guys. I know they got Suma for 20 million, but it's Leicester. If Ben White's 50 million, you're not getting Ndidi for 50 million. And Ndidi would be classic. And Ndidi would be a great signing. And Diego says, let's get Alice to 16,000 subscribers. Yes, let's please, come on. Let's see if we can get me to 16,000 subscribers. We're on 15.7k. We are 50 subscribers away from 15.8k. So please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're not already subscribed to the channel. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. I do watch-alongs to all the Manchester United games and pre-season games. I do match reactions where I analyse games and talk about who's played well afterwards. I will do a match reaction to Manchester United versus Everton next Saturday. Pre-season, and tell you how Sancho's looking in pre-season, because that'll be Sancho's first official game. So I will be doing watch-along for the Everton game, but I'll also be doing analysis on how the new players like Sancho and Varane get on if they feature in the pre-season friendlies. So if you're unable to watch the pre-season friendlies, make sure you subscribe, because I will talk about what's going on so you don't feel like you missed pre-season friendlies. I also will be live tomorrow night with some more Manchester United transfer news, so do stay up to date to keep up the tabs on all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I do daily transfer news update videos, so please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're not subscribed down below. And of course, do vote for me in the Football Content Awards. Let's see if I can get nominated for a second year in a row. We came second place last year in Best New Content Creator, so please do vote me in the Football Content Awards. A link in the description to vote for me and that, and I am just going to paste the link in the chat as well. So if you're not doing anything, click on that link, put my name, put Alice Talks Football in these sort of 3 categories and see if I can get nominated. And all of that. Just know, says Phil Jones, CDM, so we can finally realise what Fergie said about him. Oh my God. And Joe says, I generally think Ndidi would be more than Rice. This is the same club that took 80 million from Maguire, you know. Exactly. So to be fair with Leicester, if Ndidi doesn't have long left on this contract, if you threw in Jesse Lingard, if Ndidi was pushing for the move, maybe there's a possibility to get it down. But I think Ndidi would be like 70 million pounds. Maguire or McGran, what are we calling them? Maguire, Vajguire. I think that sounds better, doesn't it? To be fair, I don't know. We're gonna have to have a nickname for Varane and Maguire. Maybe Varane and Harry. I think Varane sounds better than Maguire. Maguire sounds weird, doesn't it? And Moran maybe. I think Moran. I don't know. Maguire, I don't know. I feel like Vary. I feel like Vary would be a good nickname for them. You know, we've got McFred, maybe Vary, to be fair, but you never know. It's going to be interesting. I think the one reason I'm really happy with signing Rafael Varane is because I feel like if you do sign a Christian Romero, that I think is a very, very good player that could be going to Spurs. I think if you do sign a Jules Koundé, which I think is a very, very good player, and I would be happy if we signed Jules Koundé, I'd be happy if we signed Romero as centre-back backups to Varane. But you know Ollie doesn't like to give new players a chance. And I think, you know, if you sign Varane, you know he benches Lindelof. I think Jules Koundé is better than Lindelof, but I couldn't tell you if Jules Koundé was going to bench Lindelof. So I think that is the obvious positive situation about signing Varane as well that I always have to think of. But I've said this time and time again, it's so important we get CDM now because our attack is good. We've improved on our attack. Our attack wasn't an issue last summer. Last season, our attack wasn't an issue. We've improved on it anyway. Attack's not going to be an issue. Even with Rashford's injury, attack won't be an issue next season. Attack will only be an issue next season if we play negative football. And we'll only be playing negative football next season if we play with Midfielder. Now, the defence, I think, is sorted. Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Maguire, Varane, very, very solid defence line. I have no issue with either of the goalkeepers. People like to make an issue out of it, but for me, I don't. Midfielder will be our weakness next season. Matic doesn't have the legs to hold on his own. You've got Donny, you've got Pogba, you've got Bruno in the midfield. Brilliant, great. But they're more attacking-minded midfielders. All we need is to add a CDM. That's the final piece to the puzzle. A CDM for Manchester United. And I just think we need to get a midfielder. We need to sell Lingard. We need to sell Daniel James. That is £40 million. You can get a good CDM out there for £40 million. And I really hope that's what Manchester United do because I do not want to see us not signing a midfielder this summer. And I think, honestly, we could be up in a title race this summer, but I don't think we're going to challenge for Premier Leagues. I don't think we're going to challenge for the Champions League until we sign a CDM. So it would really, really frustrate me if Man United didn't go out and sign a CDM. That would really, really frustrate me. I think we are in a situation where we massively need to sign a CDM. Now, we've been linked to Saul Niguez. He's not a CDM. We've been linked to CAMAVINGA. He could be moulding into a CDM. And we've been linked to Ruben Neves. You can play in the pivot. But for me, an out-and-out CDM like Declan Rice would be fantastic. And if we could sell some of the deadwood and get Lingard to lower the Rice price, fantastic. Get Lingard to lower the Ndidi price, fantastic. But I don't think it's going to happen. And that is the sad truth. I think there's a possibility we get CAMAVINGA. I think there's a possibility we get Neves. And I think there's a possibility we get Saul Niguez. But I don't believe we're going to get Declan Rice. And I don't believe we're going to get Ndidi. And I don't believe we're going to get an out-and-out CDM. As much as I believe that I think it should happen. Which, you know, it is what it says. I told you United fans Ndidi's not for sale. I'm sure Ndidi isn't for sale, but all United fans would take him. CAMAVINGA, we'll find, with CAMAVINGA, with Saul Niguez, with Paul Pogba's future. Wait until August, end of August, and you have to wait and see what happens with CAMAVINGA. You have to wait and see what happens with Neves. You have to see what happens with, you know, Saul. You have to wait and see what happens with Pogba. The midfield situation is just a wait and see what happens. I believe something will happen, but Man United signing a midfielder is just a wait and see what happens. Joe says Chris Smalling's better than Lindelof. Probably is. Just No says, did you see the TalkSport interview with Charlie Austin saying Aaron Wan-Bissaka can't defend? Yes, I did. Charlie Austin, who the fuck do you think you are? You one-season wonder. You would only dream of playing for a club like Manchester United. Wan-Bissaka plays for a club like Manchester United and he does a solid job. Okay, is he the best right back in the world? No. Is he a shit right back? No. He's still one of the best right backs in the Premier League. He had a better season last season than Trent Alexander-Arnold, who only came into form for the last month. Reece James kept getting benched for Asby every now and then. Kyle Walker got benched. You know what? Wan-Bissaka had a really solid season last season, but he wasn't brilliant. His positional sense is off, but he plays next to Lindelof. Going forward, he doesn't look amazing, but he actually is not that bad going forward. Charlie Austin just thinks, so I scored a couple of goals versus United. I'm going to slag off their players. Pipe down, Charlie Austin. You're playing the Championship. The Wan-Bissaka slander, I don't get. I think Wan-Bissaka is good enough to play for Manchester United. He has poor games, he has good games, but he is the least of our problems. Our problem is Midfielder. Midfielder is our problem. You know, you can say Midfielder aren't good enough. You can say Lindelof aren't good enough. You can say Wan-Bissaka isn't good enough if you believe he's not good enough. But we all know that Midfielder is a bigger problem than Wan-Bissaka. Midfielder is a bigger problem than who plays in goal. Midfielder is a bigger problem than Cavani playing up front. People say we need Haaland. Midfielder is our biggest problem. And you see a lot of journalists pushing that we should get Trippier because Wan-Bissaka isn't good enough. I still think Wan-Bissaka would start ahead of Kieran Trippier. I think Kieran Trippier would be on the bench because I believe that Wan-Bissaka is a good player. I believe that he's over-criticised. And I believe that with Ran next to him on the right-hand side of the fence, with Sancho ahead of him, he can only get better. I think he could be a Luke Shaw. And I think Charlie Austin is just, I don't know why he's been such a cocky knobhead. You can't say Wan-Bissaka can't defend. Wan-Bissaka can defend. Maybe his positional sense is bad. But since Wan-Bissaka's come into Manchester United, we've only conceded 2 goals to left wingers. 2 goals, if the stat is true. It is a stat off Twitter. But, you know, if that stat is true, then, you know, mad one. Just No says empty midfield, but greater than Midfielder. And Andrew says the shit seems like it has nonsense talking points settled and agreed on before they go live. Better way to kill brain cells than listening to them. TalkSport, honestly, TalkSport is just full of crap. It's just, look, they make some good points, but they just talk with so much bias and agenda. You know, it's like Ben White's going to be amazing signing. Oh, I don't think Rafael Varane's a good signing. I'm worried he won't adjust to the Prem. Rafael Varane's won 4 Champions Leagues. He's won a World Cup. He's won 3 La Ligas. You know, I think he's good enough to play in the Premier League. You know, it's like saying, oh, Man City have signed Prime Messi, but I just think Ben White's a better signing than Prime Messi. Well, no. It's basically TalkSport are saying that they think Ben White is a better signing because he's Premier League proven than Rafael Varane. Ben White costs £10 million more than Rafael Varane, is fifth choice behind Tyrone Mings and Conor Cody, but TalkSport think that Ben White is a better signing than Varane. If Man City signed Messi 5 years ago and Manchester United signed that Gayton guy that we're always linked to that fell off the park at Atletico Madrid, and TalkSport was saying, you know, Gayton's a better signing, I'd be like, what? You know, if we signed a Premier League proven winger five years ago, I don't know, fucking Theo Walcott. TalkSport would probably think Theo Walcott's a better signing than Messi with that logic, you know. TalkSport just talk crap. It's talk shit. It's called talk shit, isn't it? I don't get why they were slagging off Wan-Bissaka though. I don't. And to say that Ben White is a better signing than Varane, you know, Ben White might be a better signing than Varane, but you can't say that like Ben White's a better signing than Varane because he plays in the Premier League. You just can't. Like Varane's won a World Cup, 4 Champions Leagues, and Ben White can't even start ahead of Tyrone Mings or Conor Cody. You know, there's just levels here. Yeah, I don't watch TalkSport. I think most people don't watch TalkSport unless they have to. This is the only thing on. And all of that. TalkSport, yeah, but wait, Charlie Austin higher than Sancho. You know what? TalkSport are probably sitting there going, oh, Jadon Sancho's rubbish. You know, Charlie Austin would have been a better signing. They probably TalkSport type people to say that, you know, if let's say Liverpool for some odd reason bring back Danny Ings, TalkSport probably say Danny Ings is a better signing than Jadon Sancho. It's just, you know that they're full of crap. You just know it. They definitely have a United agenda on there, and you know what? Hate on us all you want, but we signed Sancho, we signed Varane. Man United fans are happy, and you know, you hating on it just means that you're not happy. So that's what I feel like on the situation and all that. But please make sure you are subscribed down below to Alice Talks Football. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football. There will be transfer news updates throughout the week on all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I'll be going live pretty much every evening this week, so please do subscribe to stay up to date with that. There will be a watch along next week for the Manchester United versus Everton pre-season friendly, which could feature Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane. We know Varane will be flying to Manchester on Monday, so we'll be giving you some more updates on that. Possibly maybe have his medical on Monday, but I think he might have to wait for his medical on Monday due to situations with quarantine. Manchester United believe they can keep hold of Paul Pogba. Manchester United in talks for Saul Niguez and apparently in pole position to sign Saul Niguez because, you know, Barcelona kind of in the mud right now. He might not be able to go to Barcelona. We're the strongest Premier League team to sign Saul Niguez. CAMAVINGA hasn't decided on his future, and we're going to have to wait until August to see what his decision will be. And obviously, Kieran Trippier wants Manchester United. You know, that is the news. That is the situation regarding Manchester United and transfers. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it develops across the next few weeks. But so do make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news. If we sign a player, I'll be live. If we're close to signing a player, I'll be live. If we sell a player, I'll be live. So make sure you subscribe, hit that like button and all of that. And any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. Thank you very much for the super sticker and all of that. And as Joe says, Man United are hated, adored, but were never ignored. And we got Varane for cheaper than Ben White, so Arsenal have nothing to say. Exactly. Also, Rafael Varane cost us the same price as Nathan Ake cost Manchester City. Nathan Ake has been on the bench for Manchester City. He's barely played. Yes, he's been injured and all of that. But they talk about Donny van der Beek on the bench all the time. They don't talk about Nathan Ake on the bench. We just got Varane for the same amount of money that Man City spent on a relegated Bournemouth centre-back Nathan Ake. You know, he was a champ. They spent £40 million on a Championship player. We spent £40 million on a World Cup winner, 4 times Champions League winner. Man City can't even win a Champions League. Varane has 4. Varane has 4. And you know, where's the Nathan Ake slander? Nah, they don't want to slander Nathan Ake. He plays for a small club. You know, they'll slander Varane, but Varane's a better signing than Ake, but they'll never admit it on talks. But Varane's a better signing than Ben White. He just is, but Varane's not Premier League proven, remember. TalkSport do context on every United player. It's just reviews because we're box office. It probably is. If you put Man United in the title, you get more views. And I said this once, about a month ago, I think when the Euros were going on. I was like, what? I'm like, Bruno has been attacked as Portugal's worst player, but Bernardo Silva was worse than Bruno at the Euros. He was. If you watch them play, Nelson Semedo was Portugal's worst player, Bernardo Silva was worse than Bruno, and Ruben Diaz was worse than Bruno at the Euros. But no one's going to talk about how bad Bernardo Silva was. He didn't even get dropped. Bruno did more than Bernardo Silva and played less minutes, created more chances. You know, Bernardo didn't get dropped. No one talked about how poor Bernardo Silva was. No one talks about how poor Ruben Diaz was, other than a few fans on Twitter. But media was like, Bruno shit. Because Man City, you slate a Man City player, it's not going to get views because no one really cares about that club. Our biggest rivals are Liverpool. Liverpool's biggest rivals are us. Man City's biggest rivals are us and Liverpool, but they're not our biggest rivals. You know, we're bigger rivals to Arsenal than Man City are to us. You know, no one cares about City, so they just like to slate United players because of views. Because it's stupid as it is, like, if we lose, I would rather lose to Man City than lose to Arsenal. Because I feel like, as a United fan, we have a bigger rival with Arsenal. Even though they're banter FC, if you lose to Arsenal, the tweets just are at you. There's not enough Man City fans to really bug you if you lose to City. You lose to Arsenal, you're gone. I always feel like Arsenal are a bigger rival than City as well, in a weird way. And all that. Sal just played in a friendly today. Sal will leave Atletico Madrid, I think. I'm 90% sure Sal will leave Atletico Madrid because they did sign DePaul. So regarding the Saul Niguez situation, he might not go to United. I think he does want to go to Barcelona. It's very, very easy that the Saul Niguez to Barcelona deal could fall through. But I do think Saul Niguez will, you know, leave Atletico. And I think it's between United, it's between Liverpool, it's between Chelsea, it's between Barcelona. I think if Barcelona don't get him, there's definitely a possibility we can get Saul Niguez. But again, look, are we the favourites to get Saul Niguez? Apparently we're in pole position. Apparently we lead the race. But could we be used as a PR spin? For sure. We could definitely be used as a PR spin. That's my situation on Saul Niguez. Keep an eye on it. It's a possibility. But I do believe he wants Barcelona. And I think, you know, Pogba future could depend on the Saul Niguez story. London is red and blue for Crystal Palace, says Diego. You know what? I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with that. And all of that. But yeah. If Arsenal pull up a big move for a Lautaro deal, that's a big move. If Arsenal get Lautaro and Martinez, fair play, but they'd have to offer him a lot of money. They'd have to give him a lot of money. Arsenal just have vocal, annoying fans. They have not been relevant since the early mid-2000s. I did see a tweet today, and it was saying, like, it was saying Arsenal fans, for a team that had finished 8th 2 seasons in a row, hadn't been in the Champions League for 5 years, you do have some big voices on you. And it does make me laugh because I'm like, you know what? They did finish 8th 2 seasons in a row. They haven't been in Champions League for 5 years. But they are loud. They do talk a lot, don't they? They do talk a lot of shite about us. I did sit there and think that, you know what? Like, if Man United had finished 10th, 8th, I wouldn't be talking, and Arsenal finished 2nd. I wouldn't be talking shite about Arsenal because I'd be like, look at the state of my club. So I did see a tweet saying something like that as well and all that. Daniel says he loves the Man U Arsenal rivalry, especially from the past Keane versus Vieira days. I like the Man U Arsenal rivalry. It's a bit of a social media rivalry now. You know, it's a bit of banter FC versus Man United, but I do like the Man United Arsenal rivalry. I think Liverpool is the biggest rivalry, but for me, I think Arsenal is our second biggest rivalry and all that. But and to sum up today's video, because I have been live for nearly an hour, United are apparently leading the race for Saul Niguez. His representatives are jetting to England tomorrow to try and strike a deal. They want the Saul move done as quickly as possible. United will talk to Saul Niguez's representatives tomorrow. A deal could be done for £40 million. According to Tom Watkins, United are in pole position to sign Saul Niguez, but take that with a pinch of salt because he's not the most reliable source in the world. We know from Rob Dawson of ESPN that Matt Judge had already talked to the representatives on potential replacements for Paul Pogba. This includes Edouard Camavinga, Ruben Neves and Saul Niguez. However, Paul Pogba's future at Manchester United is very up in the air. He could go to PSG, he could stay. I think us getting Saul Niguez depends on Paul Pogba's future, but we don't know what's happening with Paul Pogba's future, so we can't commit to Saul Niguez and we could leave him. Camavinga we'll find out about in the next couple of weeks. He's been quite quiet, but we will probably get a Camavinga update in the next few weeks. United are definitely interested in Ruben Neves, and so are Arsenal. That is the midfield situation. Keep an eye on it. And also the Kieran Trippier situation. Please do keep an eye on it. But before you guys leave the live stream, and before I wrap up the live stream and all that, please do vote for me at the Football Content Awards. I can be voted for all 4 of these awards. I came 2nd last year, so it'd be awesome if I could get nominated again. Best new content creator, best young content creator. Please do click on that link. The link is in the description. And vote me, see if I can get nominated for the Football Content Awards for a 2nd year in a row. Please do hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe down below to Alice Talks if you're new. If you put any live chats in the comments and I did not answer your live chat, I'm really, really sorry. Just subscribe, put post notifications on, and any live chat I did not answer in today's video, I'll try and answer it in tomorrow's video because I will be live again tomorrow. So if I didn't answer your live chat, subscribe, post notifications on, and put it in tomorrow's video, and I'll try and answer it then and all of that. But one more live chat I will answer is, imagine a CDM right wing and a centre back all in one window would be fucking fantastic. I would absolutely love that. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe down below, drop a like and all of that. Thanks for tuning in.